Do you think that the propaganda of the regime persuades people that China is right on many of these issues, for example, in relation to Taiwan?
Oh, I think on certain issues, there's always a certain population that will always believe in the communist propaganda or rhetoric, because you have to remember it's all encompassing. So all your TV, radio, newspaper, and online WeChat, it's the communist voice that is actually the loudest. So here and there, people are going to absorb what's being said, but at the same time, a lot of Chinese people understand that there's a lot more to what's being said. They can see the problems intrinsically. They know that society is not going that well, but they play along with the game, especially those working in the communist leadership or within the Communist Party ranks. They just have to play along until the final days, I guess.
I was getting back to Taiwan. I was a little surprised to see the attitude of some of the Kuomintang, the old nationalists. For example, I think one of the leaders has recently visited China and appears to be trying to reach out to the communist leadership. Is that what is happening? Is the Kuomintang taking a more pro-mainland view?
Yeah, the Kuomintang, the old nationalist party, which ironically lost the war in China to the Communist Party and fled to Taiwan, they're now more pro-Beijing. So former President Ma Ying-jeou, it's no surprise that he's gone to China to because he believes that he can discuss and negotiate a fair outcome. It's actually no different to some of the views of certain leaders in Australia who believe that more discussion can actually make things better. Whether or not that goes well, it's still hard to say, but Taiwan certainly isn't, they're not united on this issue. China is it's very divisive in Taiwan. It's split between the Greens and the Blues over there. And there's a lot of people who still hold a lot of resentment towards the Communist Party.
The attitude on Taiwan, would the basic attitude still be fear of a takeover by the communists, particularly after what they saw in relation to Hong Kong? Hong Kong was supposed to be one country, two systems. I'm told that the second system has completely disappeared now, that it is now an intrinsic part of China, and the foreigners have moved out, the big banks and so on have tended to go to Singapore because it's being run as an intrinsic part of China. There's no second system maintained there. Would if that's correct, would that be causing worries in Taiwan as to that idea of there being one country and two systems?
I think this touches on an earlier point. I think that I've spoken to some Taiwanese who are actually quite skeptical of an invasion, believe it or not. They're on the front line, but they actually think that they're actually very skeptical that Beijing could muster the strength to actually go and attack their country. So, and I think the other day, a person from Hong Kong, he made this comment to me, which I think was quite interesting. He said, it would be good if the Communist Party invaded Taiwan, because that would spell the end of the Communist Party. So it's quite interesting. Those ethnic Chinese, they can't see beyond the fact that Beijing is dealing with, like all those issues I've mentioned, economic, demographic, social problems. And they don't think Beijing can get beyond that to muster up the strength to go and attack another country. And mind you, attacking Taiwan is no cakewalk. There's a lot more to it than doing what they did to Hong Kong.